Hey, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you have a few minutes to hang out with me as I work on a project today. I've just been really focused on getting some projects done inside the studio this last couple of weeks, actually. So I thought I would come live and share with all of you exactly what I'm doing. So please say hello when you come in, and please introduce yourself if you're brand new here. If you are new, my name is Kelly Weiler. I'm the owner of Girl Upcycled Studio, and I just do all kinds of things art related in here. So I would love to share a few tips with you today. Let me get started here. I'm going to get started right in. I'm also streaming over on YouTube, so I'm going to be watching the comments from all of you on my laptop. So if you don't see me looking straight here at the um, camera, it's because I'm looking down here. So I don't want you to think I'm being rude. So anyway, let's get started right away. And I'm going to kind of walk you through this. I am, by the way, trying to make a video of each step that I'm doing, and then I will edit the video down so that you can watch it over on YouTube from start to finish, the entire project. So I have a lot of plans for this one. So just to get you started, I did a dark background on the undertone of this, and I believe this one is Little Black Dress is what I used. I am using the DIY clay-based paints, which are all natural. So those are all the products I'll be using today. If you have questions about colors, or if I forget to throw out what I'm using, just put it in the comment section and I'll make sure that I go through and check all the comments later on after I'm done, okay? All right, so base coat, Little Black Dress, and then my next coat I'm putting on here is a mix of, and I actually don't mix this together, I actually mix it as I'm placing it onto my piece. So I'm treating this exactly like I would a piece of canvas that I would be painting art on, okay? So I'm kind of mixing my colors as I apply. So I'm dipping into two colors. I'm dipping my brush into Liquid Sunshine, which is a really bright yellow, and then I'm going right into a really bright green, which is called Salty Kiss, okay? So the reason I'm doing this is actually going to be a very neutral piece when I get done, which is kind of oxymoron, right? It's very bright and it has a lot of contrast, but when I get done with this, it's going to be earthy. And in order to get that earthy kind of a vibe and look coming through, I need these colors to be really bright on the undertone. So I'm just trying to explain the method to my madness here. Hello, Catherine and Judith and Aaron. Whatever that is, I love it, says Aaron. Thank you. Hello, Deborah. All right, so let's get started. So that's what I did. My first application, I did the yellow and the green. So then I just kind of like used my Paint Pixie French tip and I kind of stippled it. And what that's doing is that's giving me texture, okay? So think in terms of something being out and that mold has started to grow. And if you ever look on trees and you, not mold, but the moss, that really bright moss, and it has that texture to it, that's kind of where I get a lot of my inspiration is through things in nature, okay? So that's where my head is at while I'm working on this. All right, so my next color is going to be, I should say colors, is going to be a little bit of orange, which is Summer Crush. Again, these are the DIY paints. I'm going to get this out on the plate. Hello, Miss Betsy. Oh, goodness gracious, Betsy, I'm so sorry I forgot to call you today, girl. Talk to you soon. All right, and I'm using layered chocolate. Okay, so I've got that orange tone, which is a burnt orange, summer crush, and then layered chocolate. So which is this nice dark chocolate. And I want to take this is actually a blending brush, although I'm not going to blend with it. I actually like this because of it's kind of rough and it's long. So I'm going to dip one side in the orange, one side in the brown. And so I have it set up on my plate like this. So I'll just have a color on each side. This is very much what I would do when I would be creating on my canvas. And again, I'm going to stipple a little bit and I'm going to circulate. I'm making it to where it turns. And then again, I'm going to drop my brush back in. And I'm going to start applying. So if you think about these two colors that I'm mixing, I'm not pre-mixing them, right? So you're seeing a bright orange and you're seeing that dark chocolate. It's going to kind of appear as though it is rust, okay, on the undertones. So remember, I'm going for things that I see in nature, and that is most times how I create. Whenever I'm painting, I'm always thinking of things that naturally patina or things that grow in nature and what their colors would be. And nature has some really bright tones. So don't be afraid, even though it looks like crazy town right now, don't be afraid of that because this is not the end of the look. So you have to kind of go through these layers to get all of that depth, right? Okay, I think that's enough. Just want a little touch of this, okay? So that's that. I'm going to set this aside. Next, I'm going to grab the color that is called Sea Glass. Okay, this is a beautiful, bright, kind of a turquoise, blue-ish kind of a color. Oh, thank you, you guys. All right, so, and then I'm also going to use a knife. This is actually from Dion's line. This is the turquoise iris. This is the number 46. And I really, really enjoy this because, goodness, I should have washed it before I started, but I think we'll be okay. But I really love the style of this knife in particular when I'm painting on furniture because it's pretty large and it's nice and flat, and then it has the square, so I can really get up under all of the nooks and crannies and the cracks and crevices, okay? So I'm going to just take this and I'm going to start pulling it, and I'm not blending it into the orange that I've just put on, but I'm going to kind of try to hit some of those other areas. If you have not tried painting with many layers like this, I urge you to give it a try. Don't be afraid of it. It is a little bit, what's the word I want to use? It's a little bit intimidating. If I'm painting live while my store is open and people are walking around, they may look at you a little sideways, like, what are you doing? Trust me, trust the process, and don't be swayed by a comment or somebody looking a little sideways while you do this. It's just like I teach in my group. It's like when you go get a haircut and you get a brand new haircut and they're halfway through the haircut, you don't judge the haircut on that halfway look, right? And that would be the same as what you would be doing, right? If that makes sense. So I encourage all of you to give it a try. So happy me to be streaming over on YouTube today. I had to kind of cut my live streaming down a little bit, and I did get some messages from some of you saying, where have you been? And so I did decide to do an actual class today, teaching you guys this method. And hopefully some of you over on YouTube will be able to catch this later. All right, so there's that. No rhyme or reason. You can adjust this however you want as far as the application, how much or how little. I personally like some of this dark left because I want that that depth that dark color is going to give me when I get my top layers on. Okay, so what you want to do at this point, you have all of these thick, kind of chunky, rough layers on here. You'll want to let this dry all the way. Okay, let it dry all the way. If you want to stop and then come back the next day and start, that would be a good idea too. And I'm going to move the camera because I have the front of it set up to where I can go ahead and do the next part for you and let all of you watch. Get up real quick here. Well, not real quick, but I'll get up. Let's put it that way. I remember those days I used to just jump right up. All right, so I'm going to put this over here and get this focused on this side. There we go. Grab my cushion. All right. I just shift everything along. I always tell everybody, for those of you that do furniture painting and you're on the floor a lot, as I am right now, it's kind of difficult being on the floor. You can either have somebody help you lift this and put it up on a workbench, which would be ideal. I'm here a lot by myself, so I'm not able to do that. So what I do is I save these round cushions. Like when I get a piece of furniture and maybe it has one of these cushions, because you can't really resell it. And then I use them to sit on while I'm on the floor. So really saves you a lot. You don't want to be on your knees painting, but you want to make sure you're comfortable, okay? All right. Next. Let me check the comments. Thank you guys so much for the love and the shares and all that. Appreciate that. All right, so next I'm going to go with a beautiful, beautiful neutral. And again, I'm using the DIY paint. It is clay-based, all natural. This one is called Faded Burlap, okay? It's a great, great neutral. But like I said, if you looked at the beginning of this, it's a neutral, but we have all this color underneath. So I want you to go ahead and wet your brush down a little bit. Shake off the water. And then you're going to dip in. And you're going to start painting. Start pulling over. I'm going to get around the handles really well. Oh, thank you, Catherine. So glad that I think you're talking about the cushion tip. Yeah, it is just, yeah, it's difficult being on the floor all the time painting, isn't it? So you can kind of just build this up kind of as much or as little as you want. I kind of like to build it up and then I take it back down is what I'm going to kind of do. So, and you kind of are probably wondering, especially if you're new to furniture painting, you're probably like, why would I put all that on and then cover it, right? Well, because it's still going to show through because we have created a lot of color underneath, and you probably can't see it from the video right now, but there's a lot of texture and there's a lot of movement. So all of those underlayers, I call this one, in painting on a canvas, this would be your underpainting. So your underpainting has all of that depth, movement, texture, and it does add to your final outcome. So it all matters. But you can have a little fun with it. If, like I said, if you wanna paint it lighter, you can. I like to do a good coverage over top, and then I'm going to pull it back off. So it gives it a really, really cool kind of a texture when you pull it back off. Are there any questions so far? Has this been fairly easy to follow? I want to make sure that all of the questions are answered that you might have, if you have them, and make sure those of you catching this later on YouTube during the replay, because that's when I get most of my views, make sure that you know that you can ask me questions in the comment section, and I will get all of your questions answered the very best that I can. Okay. We have a question coming in from Debbie. What color is that you are using now? She's late to join in. This is called Faded Burlap. It's a beautiful neutral. It is a neutral, but yet we've got all this yummy color that we're using along with it, right? Put it on, keep putting it on. Going pretty thick if you want to. And I just have a pretty inexpensive little brush I'm using for this part. And this is one of those little Woosters. They have the nice little rubber handle that are very handy. I guess that's why it's called a handle, because it's handy. I know, don't quit my day job, right? Go ahead and don't overthink this part, you guys, okay? We're just going to get to slap this on here. Don't overthink this. Get your layers on there. I hope you're all having a great week. It's crazy to think that it is Thursday already. It's been crazy busy here. I'm going to add some more up here. And I get this lip under here. Yeah, we had lots of meetings in the last 2 days and all that good stuff. So I do want to announce and make sure that y'all know that there is a really, really exciting event that is going to be happening in South Charleston, Ohio. I will drop the links to all that information for all of you because the tickets just went on sale. And it is a workshop that's going to include myself. I will be teaching intuitive art. Quita Allen, she will be teaching a furniture painting technique. And then Josie Siefker, who owns Paint Pixie, will be there. And she'll be doing some introduction of some of her new products. So if you are in the area or if you'd like to join us, the tickets are on sale. I will drop the link when I get out of here so that you guys can easily find that, okay? But it's going to be an awesome weekend. So let me go ahead. Hello, Sister Melissa. Hello, hello. All right, so I have water now that I'm going to use, okay? And I'm going to spray this down fairly well. You're welcome, Debbie. My pleasure. Yeah, we really looking forward to that, and that class is going to be in July. So, if you are thinking of coming, you will want to get that written down. All right. So, let's go ahead and I should have brought my paper towels over here. Let me just use this. I'm going to wipe it off. What we're going to do now, I'm just kind of letting that water soak in is all I'm doing right now. And then I'm going to take the scraper here, or the knife, and I'm going to start scraping it, okay? You can use, like, if you'd rather use one of these scrapers. This is going to be probably a little more porous. It's going to scrape a little bit harder. I also use these jobbies quite a bit. These are Catalyst, and this is softer. So you'll want to think about your touch. Think about your hand. Do you have a hard or a soft hand? So if you have a nice soft hand, you could use something like this, and it probably won't scrape through too much. Something like this, the Catalyst, will give you a smoother, softer kind of a finish. And I actually have a palm Catalyst that has been missing for quite a while. So I'm kind of scraping it both ways for right now. I'm not too worried about the lines that it's leaving. You will have some lines. The larger your Catalyst, like the palm scraper, is going to cover more ground than this little one. So you can kind of try different ones out, see what works for you. As I'm scraping, I'm wiping it off, okay? It's a little bit messy, but I kind of like messy. I'm going to go on down to this one, and I'm scraping and I'm wiping. Scraping and I'm wiping. I am going to try to do an edited version of this for y'all too. That'll be over on YouTube. So if you see when I'm scraping, all of that dark paint is giving it that contrast that I'm wanting. This is where that dark background that I put in, the dark little black dress, is really going to show its stuff, show its depth. Don't be afraid of using all that color. I feel like I should have grabbed my paper towels, or across the room, of course. So I'm gonna make do the best I can. Any questions from anyone that is watching the live right now? You can reapply. as you scrape. So I'm scraping, and if you want to reapply what's on your catalyst, you can do that as well if you want. Right now I'm pretty much pulling off and eyeballing it, letting some of that color poke through is kind of what I'm doing. All right, so that's what you do there. And I feel like scrape with this a little bit. So when you're using the metal, be careful, be very, very light handed, because it will scrape all the way down into the original if you're not careful. And maybe you want it to show. Maybe you want the original color or the original wood to peek through. This is a great way to do that. Or you could use the paint scraper to do that. Hi, y'all. Hello, Cindy. Good to see you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to squirt this again. And what that's going to do, it's going to help me get rid of some of those lines right now that I've got from my scraper. Let's do down here. Just do it real quick. And move along to the other side. Kind of play with it. If you like to see drips, you can spray it even thicker, and you'll see it'll give you a slight run, which I'm not opposed to that. Okay. All right. And that's all for that stage, and I'm going to take you on down. Cindy says I just had to rewind to see what you did, and it's so good. Well, thank you, my friend. You're so sweet. All right. Sorry, I'm going to take you for a little bumpy ride here. It's just amazing what we can create using all this color and still have just a beautiful neutral, right? But yet we're still using color. Push this over a little bit so you can see a little bit better. And I'll be working on this side now, and I am going to use a sander. So I'm going to unplug this if I can. Now you're going to take your sander, and you're probably wondering, because you can wet distress with this, okay? But a sander gives it a different look than a wet distress. So when you wet distress, it's going to have a little bit smoother finish, and sometimes it will smear. So what I don't want is I don't want the colors to smear, and I don't want the colors to marry into each other, okay? And the reason for that is that I have spent all that time applying texture, and this is where the sander is going to help that texture kind of pop a little bit. I mean, it's going to smooth it out, but you'll see the little rough little places where it looks like it's rust almost, how it gets that the little bumps. And the same with the look of the moss, where it would have little bumps. So that's what I'm doing. you should be able to see all of that, the dark coming through. You're able to see all the grain now. You're able to see little peaks of the green popping out with the yellow. Faint, faint, faint of the blue, which is great. Just faintly can see the orange too. So I'm going to turn this, if I can, without breaking my back or anything. And I'm going to let you see like the finished side, which is right here, because until you get your waxes on, this is what it's going to look like. And I'm going to turn this so you can see what it looks like once you apply your waxes, because that's kind of when the magic happens, okay? So let me turn this. And this is what it is going to look like when I am finished. And I love it. And I'm going to try to give you a close-up. I'm going to take it off of here. I can do this without, if I can hold it really still. So this is kind of what it's looking like. You can see little bits of drips, little bits of yellow, little tiny bits of the orange tone. And then if you look right here, I did take the knife and I took some vintage linen white and I kind of scraped it. I think I did that before I sanded, so I may have to go back and do that. So little bits of white there. That's vintage linen. Isn't it pretty? So this is a really beautiful kind of a neutral kind of weathered kind of look. I'm not finished with it. I did, let's see, I first put clear wax on it and then I went over it with a little bit of dark wax, working the darkest dark wax here and then leaving it a little bit lighter in the middle. You can play around with your waxes though. Maybe you want to cover the whole thing with dark wax. That's fine too. So my plan for this, and like I said, I am trying to make a video that will be edited so that you can see this start to finish entire thing. I do have plans for some kind of artwork or a transfer that will go over top of this. So I think it's going to be beautiful. So hopefully you guys can stay tuned and check out the end results soon. Are there any questions before I sign off? Hey, Alyssa. Hey, Sheila. I'm going to give you guys just a second. And again, if you are catching this on the replay, leave a comment because I can still answer your questions later if you need anything. Thank you. Sheila says beautiful. Vintage Cindy says can't wait to see it at the end. Yeah, so thank you guys. So that's basically the gist of it. So yeah, I don't see questions coming in. So hopefully you enjoyed that little video and I will be talking to all of you soon. Thank you, Marie. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, have a great rest of the week and I will see you all soon. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.